Morning, guys. How are y'all doing this morning? Y'all muted? Did I mute you?
We're doing good.
Good. Okay, we are going to dive right in. Go ahead and go to Google Classroom, please, and open up the notes page. I think it's towards the bottom, meeting notes page, cell cycle notes 3-4. Now I'm going to share my screen as we go over this. So if you want to like minimize my screen and open up maybe have a new window so you can fill out the worksheet as we're going over it. Because I think if I share my screen, it takes over your entire screen. You can't have a work area.
Is it 324? That's
yeah, notes on
notes.
Notes on cell cycle.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so you have a place you can work on the.
Mr. Richards, I'm not finding it.
Scroll to the very bottom on Google Classroom.
It's not at the bottom. It's more on the top. It's not on the bottom.
Really? It's on the bottom on mine.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's
Found it.
like towards the top on mine.
Everybody find it okay? Jenna, smile. There you go.
Yeah.
Michael, you look half asleep. You all right? Okay. Austin, we put everybody into Google Classroom and open up the notes page so we can fill it out as we're going along. So if you'd open up the notes page and also like move this screen to like only fill up like half your screen. So I'm going to share my screen so we can fill out the worksheet together. Okay, so that's what you should be looking at. Do you have your worksheet open? Everybody find that worksheet?
I can't.
Are we good? All right. So the prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cells are like real simple. They only have like a circular strand of DNA, not like us with our 46 chromosomes and all. So prokaryotic cell uses a process called binary fission. And basically the cell replicates its DNA and then just splits in half. Very easy, simple process, and it's pretty quick. The DNA replicates the cell and splits in half, and usually takes only about 20 minutes for binary fission to occur on the average. Okay, any problem doing it this way? Are you guys okay? Yeah? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, with our cells, our eukaryotic cells, you have eukaryotic cells, the cat has eukaryotic cells. When we do our POGL, they're going to be talking about eukaryotic cells. So the cell cycle there described the status of cells in relation to how it grows. So it's growth and its division. It has to not only grow, it spends a lot of times it's growing and then just dividing. Now, what do you think on this next part? When cells reach a what? What causes things to actually start to divide?
When they reach a certain number.
When they reach a certain, not number, but when they reach a certain
Size.
exactly. When they reach a certain size, now cells can only grow so big until they start poisoning themselves with their waste products. So when cells reach a certain size, growth either stops or the cell has to
Divide.
divide. Now, we would think all of our cells are capable of dividing, but red blood cells don't even have a nucleus. Right? Red blood cells, they serve their purpose and then they are like filtered out and gotten rid of. Right? So, but most, but not all eukaryotic cells are capable, can't spell, of capable of what?
Division.
Division or dividing? Yes. Now, most of the time, our body really likes to control this cell division. The nucleus likes to control this cell division. Now, cell division is generally highly regulated. Right? Our cell and our body controls not only how fast the cells divide, it controls how fast mitosis occurs, but also in what time period they occur. Now, it might be nice if we had eukaryotic cells and we could, our prokaryotic cells, and we could divide in these 20 minutes, but our cells are much more complicated. So generation time for eukaryotic cells is in between 8 and 20 hours. So in the human body, what do you think where's our fastest mitotic tissue? What kind of tissue in our body heals itself the quickest?
Our skin.
Yes. And we can think about that. I mean, cancer is when mitosis kind of goes berserk. So it's kind of related to the frequency of cancer occurrences because our skin divides so fast. In fact, 90% of human cancer begins in the epidermis or epidermal cells. Skin cancer. Who knows the name for skin cancer? Anybody?
Is it melanoma?
Well,
Non-melanoma? Whatever.
Can certainly be a type. All right. Going on, cell cycle has two main phases. The first phase is not really a phase of mitosis. It's called interphase. And the last part is cell division. Interphase, you can kind of think of its normal lifespan. It's where the cell spends most of its time. It's when it's growing during its.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, interphase divided into three parts, defined with respect to the DNA replication. The DNA is completely replicated. Make copies of all the chromosomes during what we call the synthesis phase, or the S phase. Okay, right before the S phase, we have a period called just the gap phase, or the G1 phase is the first gap. This is when the cell is growing. And the phase is usually the most variable, how long it actually grows. All right, the period between the S phase and cell division is called the G2 phase. This is when the cell spends its time saying, hey, I'm just about to divide, let's get ready. So do you think it spends a long time there or a short time there? Short. Right. Okay, so that's what happens at interphase. If we go on past interphase and we're just talking about cell division, cell division is, well, we use mitosis. So mitosis is the process that distributes a complete what of the genetic information?
Copy?
Exactly. Oh, can't spell. Okay, and the two new cells that are formed, does anybody know what they're called? After mitosis, starts with a D?
Daughter cells.
Exactly. Okay, at the end of mitosis, when the chromosomes are pulled apart to different sides, then a process called cytokinesis occurs. And that's just the cell splitting up its jelly, right? Splitting up the cytoplasm. Now, it's kind of strange. Some cells can actually undergo mitosis without splitting up the cytoplasm. Right? This happens a lot with fungus, with mushrooms, and slime molds. And slime molds is, I mean, if you think about a blob, it forms like a blob on a rotting piece of wood and can stay all together and move around the forest floor. Okay, last section, the current model of the cell cycle regulation involves a highly conserved, genetically controlled program. I mean, our body is really trying to control when the cell cycle occurs, how fast different tissues in our body actually undergo mitosis. So there are major checkpoints that our body has to regulate. 3 major checkpoints found in G1, G2, and mitosis. Now, we'll talk more in detail if we have a chance about a chemical called cyclins. But these chemicals, you can think about them almost as hormones. right? Cyclins and cyclin-dependent proteins called kinases. And in plants, there's a certain one called cytokinins. But in humans, we have a certain hormone. It's called our growth hormone. And as you know, our growth hormone isn't always active, right? You have that stage of your life that, during puberty or so that, we have a increase in, our type of mitotic divisions that are occurring. So controlled by growth hormones in animals, stimulate progression through checkpoints in the right cells under the right conditions. Now, there are other chemicals that our body uses to slow down division. So something that suppresses it, some suppressors of cell division. And this is where the main problem comes in, is that in our body, we've talked a lot about cancer. Cancer cells just go wild. Cancer cells generally grow without needing our body to stimulate anything. And cancer cells fail to respond to any type our body tries to slow down anything. So they fail to respond to any suppressors. Okay, any questions on that worksheet? Hopefully you're able to keep pace with that. Just make sure it's turned in on Google Classroom. All right. Okay, on Google Classroom, you'll see that there's a pogle assigned on the cell cycle. Those notes that we just took should, give you kind of a heads up on that pogle. It's all about the cell cycle. Has a diagram there of the different phases that were in the notes, the G1, the S, the G2 phase, and then where mitosis and cytokinesis occurs. And then just some questions that you need to do. Okay. So make sure that you're able to get that pogle and get it turned in. Okay, let's talk now about last subject, about the cat dissection. So I posted 2 videos. Have you been able to see like cat 7 or cat 8? Has anybody able to watch the videos? Okay.
I know that they haven't worked for me, but I don't know if they worked for anybody else.
They haven't loaded for you?
They worked for me, but it was kind of really laggy.
Really?
Yep. And it didn't go to like YouTube like the other one did, but.
Really? Yeah. Where did it take you?
It just kept me on Google Classroom. Like almost like a picture would open, but it was the video, but it was really, really laggy.
That's what mine did with me, but it didn't, the video didn't load, so I couldn't like watch it at all.
Huh. Okay, I'll try to look into that, see if I can make sure that that link takes you directly to YouTube. So far, I've gotten through dissection parts of cat 7 and 8, and I was going to do lab 9 this afternoon. I'll try to figure out the videos. Some of the things, hopefully you can see. I'm trying to move the camera around, but for some strange reason, every time I go up there to dissect, my cat is totally interested in what I'm doing. And wants to come jump up on the dissection table and watch me dissect the muscles. It's like very bothersome. All right, you guys have any questions?
Are the cat labs due by next class?
Yes.
Period.
How far should we get on our cat labs?
Maybe
I would get through
wants to
7
know
and
how it
8.
works.
I get through Cat Lab 7 and 8
By Thursday or by next
by
week?
next week. Right? I will
When
look
is-
into I'll look into the video problems before we I think we meet again on Thursday. So before we meet on Thursday, I'll look in to see if I can get those videos to direct you right to YouTube. Maybe they would load better that way. Okay?
Is the Pogo due next next class period or next week?
Next week. And that way, if you look at it, I mean, if you have a chance, try to look at it before Thursday's class period. That way we can talk about any problems or any questions on it. Okay? All right. If no questions, I'll sign out. Guys, have a good day.
Yeah.
Two.
Bye.